Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Good Stuff. My name is Kevin Billy, and as always, we appreciate you joining us today. Well, hey, today I've got Baltimore Orioles disability consultant and good friend Bryce Weiler. He's joined us here just to let us know about what he's doing and hopefully connecting everybody to him. Hey, Bryce, it's good to have you, man.
Hi, Coach Billy. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, hey, Bryce, I've been very blessed to know you, and I know a little bit about your story, obviously. So let's start there. For those that don't know you, and just beginning from day one, tell us a little bit about you and kind of where you're at now.
I was born 4 months premature, and then due to either too much light or too much oxygen when I was in the hospital, doctors aren't really sure which of those items it was. It caused the retinas in my eyes to detach, which caused me to be blind. I had many eye surgeries when I was younger, and doctors did not think that I was going to be able to live. But after having overcome those obstacles, I started growing up and I started really listening to sports on the radio, listening to Brian Barnhart commentating Fighting Illini football and basketball, and Don Fisher commentating Indiana Hoosiers football and basketball. And it was those two broadcasters that really brought sports to life for me and created visual pictures of the game taking place on the court and the field. But I am forever grateful for the former Evansville head men's basketball coach, now the current Eastern Illinois head men's basketball coach, Marty Simmons, for the opportunity to sit on his Evansville basketball bench from 2010 through 2014. Sitting on the Evansville basketball bench, since I cannot see, was as close as I was ever going to get to being able to experience college basketball. I was able to shoot free throws on the court before games, meet opposing coaches, spend time with student managers, and really just be a part of a sports team. And doing all this was something that I dreamed about being able to do. And through Coach Simmons' generosity, it has enabled me to want to give back and to help people of all disabilities to live dreams and have life-changing moments like I've done with the Baltimore Orioles as their disability consultant. And anyone can have an impact on someone's life with a disability, just as Coach Simmons has impacted my life so greatly for the past more than 10 years now.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's so commendable, Bryce, with what you're doing. The one thing I probably have a great deal of admiration for is your persistency, whether that's contacting all these coaches like you did, initially with me, which we'll get to here in a second, but that you're not using this as an excuse to not go out and enjoy a great life and then, more importantly, have an impact on others. Where's that rooted at, Bryce? Like, where does that come from for you, and why are you wanting to do that?
Being fortunate enough to overcome being born premature and doctors not thinking that I was going to be able to live is definitely a part of it. But having great friends such as yourself and Coach Simmons and all the students who helped me out at Evansville who would shoot free throws with me in the Aces practice gym or eat with me at lunch and at dinner, I have all those great people who are helping me and supporting me and my family as well. It would be letting all of them down to not try my hardest to be successful and to give back and to help others to be able to live their dreams in life and to break down barriers and obstacles. I've certainly had people who have thought that I cannot do things such as commentating games on the radio as a blind sports radio analyst and broadcaster, or even finding a job working in sports. But I just surround myself with people who think that I can be successful. And when I have people who don't believe that I can do things, I try to show them how I can do things and how I won't let the fact that I'm blind keep me from living my dreams and pursuing my goals of helping others to break down their own barriers and obstacles.
Kudos to you, Bryce. I would want to just know here before we jump into our relationship a little bit, what's that like when you sit on a bench?
I learned so many things from sitting on the Evansville basketball bench. First of all, I had no idea that the home team shot away from their bench in the first half and by their bench or by the basket by their bench in the second half. I had no idea of that until I was able to sit on Coach Simmons's basketball bench. Also, just visiting with all of the refs and officials who came in to work Evansville games. I know yourself and other coaches have squabbles with officials, but I have so many officials who would work Evansville games who I'm friends with, who I still talk to, who I check in when I hear them work in a Big Ten game or a Big 12 game or whatever game. I might be listening to. So just being able to do that, and also being able to shoot free throws before the game or at halftime or after the game at the Ford Center really changed my life and just gave me that opportunity to be a part of a sports team for 4 years.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. And describe to me, if you will, what's that process of you shooting a free throw for the listeners that are out there, maybe wondering how that happens, and just the feeling that you get from doing that, Bryce?
To shoot a free throw, I would have someone stand underneath the basket and clap. And I've shot enough free throws that I know the basic height that I need to shoot it at. I've also missed enough free throws that I can tell if it's going off the left side of the rim, the right side of the rim, or if I'm shooting it hard off the back of the rim. And also, shooting on the same basket day after day helps because I can figure out if the rim is loose or tight, or if the ball is going to get a good bounce over the front of the rim. And all that's really useful when I'm shooting free throws.
So if we went out right now and shot 10 free throws, how many you making, bud?
I think I could make 3 to 4.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty good. That's better than Shaq almost, you know? Hey, Bryce, you reached out to me as you've done so many coaches in the past, and I'm just so blessed that we were able to connect. You remember everything. I forget everything. You corrected me earlier when we were speaking that it's been about 8 years that we first met. You came to our game at Southern Indiana, but more importantly, I had you speak to our team. What before I give a little insight to that, what can you tell me that you remember about that? Just that moment.
I remember the entire weekend. I gave my first ever speech the night before to Murray State and Steve Prohm.
Hmm.
And Murray State ended up beating Evansville, and their players came down and shook my hand and gave me a hug and thanked me for speaking to them. Some of the Aces fans were actually really mad that I spoke to Murray State because they thought that could have led Murray State to the victory. After coming through that, I got to come be with your team. We got to have dinner. It was you, my friend Trevor, and myself and your players. Then I got to speak to your team in the locker room before the game. Then I was commentating that game on the radio with my friend Dan Egursky, the University of Southern Indiana men's basketball radio broadcaster. And the speech, it was important to me because that was the second time that I'd ever given a speech. But after the game, that's what changed my life most. Whenever yourself and your entire team, who'd given up a good lead you had over Southern Indiana and unfortunately lost it and ended up losing the game, your entire team came right over and shook my hand and gave me a hug and thanked me for speaking to them. There's not a day that goes by when I don't think about yourself and I don't think about Steve Prohm for what both of you gave me that opportunity to do, speak to your team. That's led to over 100 speeches to sports teams, companies, and other groups. And it wouldn't be without both of you and both of your teams and your coaching staff showing how much that speech meant to them. Because that's where I learned that my words have power and the obstacles that I've had to overcome in my life have power as well.
Well, Bryce, it was our pleasure, and something I'll always remember as well. And I'm glad that it's led to a lasting friendship. I think you have the ability, as an individual, like I said earlier, it's persistent and just as battled through a lot. I think your words really rang true, not to just the players that day, but I know to myself and the coaching staff, and you left an impact, on us. What and now that you've been doing this speaking, what do you like to speak on, and what do you feel, resonates with the groups that you're talking to?
I like it best when somebody gives me a topic that they want me to speak on because I can compose stories from my life on almost any topic. But if I'm not given a topic, I will talk about the value of helping others, not taking opportunities for granted, when you struggle to ask for help, why you should do it. And I always start all of my speeches off with a story about a time where I couldn't find anyone to eat with me in the cafeteria when I was in graduate school at Western Illinois, and how I had to walk into the cafeteria and ask random tables of students whether or not they'd be willing to eat with me and to help me. And that day, I realized how really great I had it at Evansville with so many people to help me and how low things could actually really be in my life. And that really showed me to never take opportunities for granted. And it took me a while to start being willing to really tell that story. But when I started telling that and leading off the speech with that, it really got people involved and engaged, because so many people have had times where they've wanted to help someone with a disability or they felt nervous about it. So hearing that story has just made them feel more at ease to assist and help people with disabilities.
So what would you say before we wrap up and people know how to contact you? I'd be curious about two things, Bryce, and maybe you alluded to it just recently in that answer. What's been the toughest part about your journey?
Toughest part about my journey in life is people not giving me opportunities. When I was in graduate school at Western Illinois, they told me I could help out with fundraising and other items with the athletic department. And then when I got there, they wouldn't let me. I went to two different universities. They had no idea how to help me find a job or to find employment since I cannot see. Even though they told me they would help me, they still haven't really helped me. And I've had to set everything up on my own, from becoming the Orioles disability consultant to setting up more speaking engagements to other consulting work with companies, helping them to create programs for people who have disabilities. I've had to set all of that up myself. So I've gotten really comfortable with just reaching out and contacting people.
What would you say then, Bryce, is the best part about your journey?
The best part is all the great people that I've had who've helped me, like yourself and Coach Prom and Coach Simmons, and all the great people that I've met along the way when I've really needed someone to assist me or help me, like those students when I was in graduate school at Western Illinois. Whenever nobody wanted to step up to eat with me or to help me get my food, they stepped up. That's always the best part, the people who want to help you have success in your life.
Well, Bryce, it's been a pleasure just to spend a couple minutes with you here today, and I'm hopeful that people, hear this message and they reach out to you, and they're fortunate enough to have you speak to their team, organization, whatever it might be, just like we were able to do at Notre Dame College. I like I said earlier, it was wonderful and something I'll never forget. What's the best way that people can reach out to you, whether that's phone, email, social media, however you want them to contact you?
I've got a few ways. First of all, I'd like to say that I could speak any length of time from 20 minutes to an hour to 30 minutes. So 20 minutes to 90 minutes, but I typically go between 20 minutes to an hour. I can speak on any topic to a sports team or a company. I could do a live speech or a virtual speech. The live speeches are more fun because people get the opportunity to use my cane, and I'll leave that go so they can experience what that would be like. Some of the best ways people could contact me would be if they'd like to call me or text me. My phone number is 812-899-5673. 812-899-5673. They could also email me if they would like. My email is bweiler25@gmail.com. BWEILER25@gmail.com. They can also connect with me on my LinkedIn if they would like, or follow me on Twitter or message me on Twitter. My Twitter is at Bryce Weiler, at capital BRYCE, capital WEILER.
All right. Well, hey, there you go, Bryce. I appreciate you joining us, like I said earlier as well. And I look forward to see what happens from this. I hope a couple people reach out to you because I know you're going to have an impact on them. And yeah, for you and I'm just blessed to call you a friend, and I look forward to us staying in touch as well.
Thank you so much, Coach Billy, for having me on, and just for giving me that opportunity to speak to your team back in December of 2012. Because if it wouldn't have been for that, and also Coach Prom doing it the night before, I wouldn't be doing any of this now and it being able to impact so many people's lives.
Well, once again, our pleasure. Glad we could help. And for anybody that's listening, you have all those details. As you know by now, too, you can always reach out to me at goodstuffkevin@gmail.com. I'd love to make that connection for, once again, you, your company, your organization, whoever it is, just to touch base with Bryce and have him spend some time with your people. So thanks again for joining us. And until next time, good stuff.